Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the goddamn internet. And today we're gonna be talking a little bit about StevenGreer responding to the whole Jake Barber, our local barber guys, big guys, egg person, the new whistleblower. So StevenGreer has made comments. StevenGreer has had beef with Lou Elizondo, so many fucking people, right? So it really makes one curious to why StevenGreer has this much conflict with so many people. But also recently Steven launched his podcast, which is like hours of information and stuff he says. It's really interesting if you have the time to check it out. But yeah,
Up most of the night dealing with some of the fallout from the tabloid show that came out last night. And so I want to just comment on this a little bit. Jake Barber and I've worked together, and I first met him about a year and a half, maybe 20 months ago. He's a special forces guy who is also embedded with a major aerospace company. Now, I know what all those affiliations are. He did not disclose it. Now, the important part of what came out, if you take out all the other noise and the production itself on that NewsNation show, is that he and a group of other people are beginning to put their toe in the water, releasing information and what they've been involved with in retrieving extraterrestrial vehicles, or the pop culture now, or government acronym term now is NHI, non-human intelligence craft. And there is a great deal more than what you saw in that episode. So the original plan, just to let people know what was originally thought to be done, and its evolution, some may say devolution over the last few months, is that there was going to be a collection of all that hard evidence of these operations, the craft, the operators, the locations, et cetera, and so on. And that was going to be done anonymously. They were not going to reveal who they were for OPSEC, operational security reasons, and their own safety, both legally and personally. As you saw in the show, people have been killed. He didn't go into details. I know the details, and there have been recent fatalities related to these operations of people trying to come forward. And we're at this inflection point where we need these people to come forward full Monty, right? However, the problem is the United States government is lagging in instituting the protections, the executive orders, the congressional bills to protect and to make a pathway out of these operations that have been run illegally, so that the people involved are not prosecuted. They have amnesty, they have physical protection, and there's a robust effort in law enforcement here and abroad to get these corrupt and illegal projects under control, which is a very heavy lift. There's a separate team that I'm advising is involved with that part of it. That's separate from Jake Barber and his whistleblower team. But I've introduced them, so they know each other.
so it seems that StevenGreer and Jake Barber know each other, right? Whether it's two bullshit artists from one to another, or two actual UFO individuals that have real experiences that have been in touch. So, yeah, they have crossed paths. And it's really interesting seeing him speak about it. And him saying that, oh, that's not the full story. There's so much more to it that was not disclosed, and the programs that was not disclosed that he was talking about. So then why does he not disclose the stuff he criticizes of not being shared, right? And I'm curious to know what you guys think about the Trump inauguration. It's like day 3 now, day 4, whatever the fuck, right? All these things happening. JFK gonna be released. What do you think about all that? And do you think it's gonna force the deep state to release a lot more? The CIA already being pressured to release all of the JFK files, etc. Let me know what you think in that regard. So the next piece of evidence we're gonna be looking at is about StevenGreer speaking about and describing his experience and knowledge about these P3 or psionic agents, etc., how that whole process works. And StevenGreer developed CE5, which he put behind a paywall, right? So yeah, there's all these methods of contact, these so I think like StevenGreer CE5 is like a method of becoming a psionic agent, right? Or a group psionic event, or whatever the fuck how you would describe that, right?
And you'll see that the P3 operators, these psionic operators that are operational at these bases where I've been now, they tend to look for left-handed people, bi and gay males, and females that have innate intuitive abilities. And that's who they will go to in these poor areas and abduct them using the craft you just saw from Mr. Herrera. They're then taken to a few sites, and we know where they are. One's out in the Chihuahuan Desert in Mexico, but, you know, it's remote. Most of them end up dying, and the ones who don't are the laborers. And some of them now, I just came back a month ago from an event out near Joshua Tree, 29 Palms Marine Base, where there's some people, and he's got several now that are defecting with him to the Disclosure Project.
So as you can tell, StevenGreer has a lot of wacky ideas based on the image there of, you know, generally psi ability, people are left-handed, or gay and bi, and yeah, some really interesting and unexpected things to be read there and spoken about. Yeah, that's some information. What do you think about that? That seems pretty crazy. Seems almost too funny to, you know, I don't know.
He went to a field very close to Fort Bragg, where the very elite of the American Special Forces are located. And we actually did CE5 with some of the people who have assisted in the preparation of this film. They are very, very interested, a lot of these elite military operators, in this kind of phenomena. They do not dismiss it. And as you say, Colonel John Blitch is one of those people. And the other two people, Don and Fred, who backed up Jake's story, and they have first-hand experience on the range with Jake, which is quite extraordinary. They are elite Tier 1 military operatives, very highly trained, the absolute creme de la creme of the military special forces in the United States. And it was an honour and indeed a real pleasure to get to know them. They're good human beings. They derive absolutely no benefit from telling me what they've told me and supporting Jake's story. And I find it intriguing because I freely admit, when I first spoke to Jake and I said, so how are we bringing down these craft? And he explained to me it's not the bringing down that's the issue, it's the summoning. How do we get them to come in the first place? And as we all know, there's long been talk, notably at Dr. StevenGreer, for example, has talked about something that he calls CE5, where through meditation and some kind of trained meditative psychic involvement with the phenomena, it's been asserted that it's possible to attract the phenomenon. And look, I'll be honest, I was a skeptic about that until I met people who could do it. And I've been in the presence of people who were trained as psionic assists by the US military, and I've watched them.
So my man RossCoulthart out here spitting facts. You know, he does not say stuff lightly. He checks his sources, he verifies, he makes sure the information is credible before he talks about it, before he risks his reputation, etc. And as Jeremy Corbell says, protect sources even if they won't protect themselves, right? And yeah, this is really interesting. Worlds colliding, StevenGreer to Jake Barber, and then to Chris Bledsoe and these psionic abilities, these psionic assets being trained. We even get to the Monroe Institute and all these methods, these guides created by the CIA, the Stargate process, and now there's this AI Stargate. Jesus, guys, simulation, right? Then we get to Tim Taylor, like all these pieces coming together. I still don't understand, like, where Tim Taylor and the hammer and then God comes in, like that whole ordeal. But yeah, so far it's looking really interesting, and I just want to know, these people that summon it, how is this connected with consciousness and consciously and these meditative states? How does this all work, right? There has to be more info that people know of, and that's hopefully coming out soon, so subscribe, notifications on. We're going to be covering every aspect of this, and daily uploads. We're trying to reach 500 subs. The grind is real. Like if you support this content, comment, let me know what you think about each and every aspect of this, and share it, and that's the most important part and helps the absolute most. So